time. We begin with our Seahawks, and we go right into it with the NFL draft. So the NFL draft, it was interesting for the Seahawks as they only had 2 picks within the first 3 rounds. Tough because the second round can really be an area where some guys slip into. Obviously, you can get steals or so every round of the draft, but the second round can really be an area that some guys who were considered first round talent slip into. And Seattle, talked about moving into that second round, but ultimately did not. So we'll look at the draft pick by pick here. Round 1. So the big one, there was a lot of talk about what the Seahawks would do with the 16th overall pick. They ended up going with defensive tackle Byron Murphy II out of the University of Texas. Big guy up the middle. And I say big, but, there's some videos of him working out at Texas where he's a very nimble athlete. So really exciting to see what Mike Macdonald and the defensive staff will be able to do with Byron Murphy II. Was viewed as, the best defensive tackle in this draft, and for a squad that's really trying to re-identify itself, create its own identity, and stop the run as they've struggled to do, at least Seattle has in the past few years. Getting a guy like Murphy up the middle could really be a big help to that. Round 3, pick number 81 overall, the team went with offensive guard Christian Haynes at the University of Connecticut, UConn. So with the first 2 picks that they have in this draft, they went in the trenches, which, if you're looking at this team and you really want to improve it for a consistent on a consistent basis for years to come, filling out the trenches is a good idea. The interior offensive line for the last few years for Seattle has really been kind of hit or miss. Not a lot of consistency there. Not the best play up the middle of the offensive line for Seattle. So solidifying that will be great. And Haynes, at least in his time at UConn, primarily played the right guard position, an area, again, of need for Seattle. So nice to see that there. He could be a day 1 starter. In the 4th round, the team had 2 picks. Seattle did make a trade during the 4th round. And it was all just pick related. Seattle did not have their 7th round pick, sorry. So 2 picks in the 4th round for Seattle. At pick 118, they went with linebacker Tyrese, we'll get it right. Tyrese Knight out of the University, out of UTEP. Knight's interesting. Knight really improved over the course of his college career, year by year. Can improve in coverage, but really was a tackle machine at UTEP. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's able to fit into this defense. As a team that was looking to fill the outside linebacker position the last few years at least. We'll get guys back like Uchenna Nwosu from injury this past year. And then you can sign guys like Jerome Baker and Terrell Dodson in the offseason, but to short-term deals. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mike Macdonald, the defensive staff, talk about the defensive staff and what they're going to do with this defense, how they're going to build for the future, and Knight could be a part of that. So 3 picks later, with the 121st overall pick in the 4th round, the team went with tight end A.J. Barner out of Michigan. Michigan, not really a pass-heavy offense, and Barner's really more of an inline tight end. He's a guy that's going to help in the run game, in the blocking game. I mean, he's shown some ability in the pass-catching game, but not a whole lot. So don't expect him to be necessarily a big guy that's going to be viewed as a weapon in the pass game. More of an inline guy, kind of what you're used to with this Seahawks offense at the tight end position. In the 5th round, the team only had 1 pick in the 5th round, pick 136. They went with cornerback don't know how to say Mr. Pritchett's first name, but we will get that as well. Out of the University of Auburn. Pritchett's fun. Pritchett's a 6-foot tall corner. He's got great speed. I believe it was 4.28 speed in the 40-yard dash. So really interested to see there. There's some question marks at the defensive back position for the Seahawks. Obviously, look at Devon Witherspoon. That's big. Julian Love's coming back. But, you signed Rayshon Jenkins in the offseason. But you're going to have to make a few decisions in the upcoming years with some guys whose contracts are going to be up and at least going into the future as well. So we go into the 6th round. The Seahawks had 3 6th-round picks, starting at the 179th overall pick, tackle Satoa Lomoa out of Utah. Again, we'll get some of these right. out of the University of Utah. So looking at the tackle position, maybe some depth there, maybe try to move him in to the interior line as well. Pick 192 in the 6th round, cornerback DJ James, also out of Auburn, so you're going to get another cornerback. And then at the 207th overall pick, the final pick of the draft for the Seahawks, they went with offensive tackle Michael Jarrell out of Findlay. So that was interesting. So we go from there, and then we go to the undrafted rookies, which there's quite a bit. There's always, none of these have really been confirmed by the team yet, but this is all what's been reported. It all comes really from a bunch of different things, whether it's their agents, the players themselves will essentially confirm it, and sometimes the beat reporters for the different teams, whether it's collegiately or for the Seahawks themselves, will put these out. So we've got a list here of these undrafted players. Quarterback. So we got a quarterback, Siobhan Cordero out of San Jose State. The Seahawks didn't draft a quarterback. Obviously, that's notable. A lot of folks were wondering if they did, but considering the trade for Sam Howell, there was some writing on the wall for that. The Seahawks had to, get a third quarterback on the roster at some point. For now, there is another one that we'll look at. Cordero was there, first reported by NFL reporter Aaron Wilson. He's a 6'1", 196-pound quarterback, the career leader in the Mountain West Conference for total yards at 13,811 and completions. That also included 4 seasons at Hawaii, which is pretty cool. Running back George Halani out of Boise State. He was a guy that had a pre-draft visit with the Seahawks. According to NFL Network, they're signing him to a deal that includes a $15,000 signing bonus and $100,000 base salary guarantee. Tight end Jack Westover. Westover's fun at the University of Washington, the former Husky and Mount Si High graduate who also had some time at O'Day High School, so shout out O'Day, stays in his hometown. According to NFL Network, he attended the NFL Scouting Combine but was unable to take part in drills because of a hand injury that he's dealing with. Westover got a deal that includes a $25,000 signing bonus and a $50,000 salary guarantee for a total of $75K. He'll now battle with A.J. Barner, as we mentioned, as well as Noah Fant and Pharaoh Brown, as first reported by Aaron Wilson. Defensive lineman Nelson Caesar out of Houston, also reported by NFL Network. Caesar is a 6'3", 250-pound defensive lineman, attending the Senior Bowl and the Combine after leading the Big 12 in sacks in 2023. Linebacker Easton Gibbs out of Wyoming. Gibbs is a 6'2", 230-pound linebacker, primarily a weak side linebacker at Wyoming, tallying 109 tackles and 2 sacks this past season. Offensive tackle Garrett Greenfield out of South Dakota State. He's a 6'7", 320-pound big man on the offensive tackle position, starting 15 games at left tackle last season for South Dakota State. He started 14 games the year prior at right tackle for a team that won the FCS title. Cornerback Roe Terrence out of Arizona State. This is more of your Seahawks type corner, 6'3", 200-pound corner, long-limbed press corner with some physical attributes that certain teams are really going to covet. Obviously, Seattle did. Great with the press, can add some crouch and jabs. He has the tools to help smother some simple routes, but can work on some avoiding separation and sharper breaking points. So interested to see there. He's not the best tackler as well. Center Mike Nowitzki out of Kansas. Center was a position I thought maybe the team would address in this draft, but they did not. So they go with the UDFA route. Kansas themselves actually confirmed this. So the 6'5", 305-pound center began his career at Buffalo before he ended up transferring and becoming a 3-year starter for the Jayhawks. Edge rusher Sundiata Anderson out of Grambling State, 6'5", 240-pound edge rusher, had 12 sacks over the past 2 seasons. Defensive tackle DeVare Levelston out of SMU, 6'5", 290-pounder who had 19 tackles and 1.5 sacks this past season. Running back Tamarick Williams out of North Dakota State, 6'1", 227-pound back, led the Bison of North Dakota State with 767 yards, averaging 6.2 yards per carry in 2023. Wide receiver Hayden Hatton out of Idaho, a 6'2", 205-pound pass catcher from Scottsdale, Arizona. He had 93 catches for 1,231 yards and 9 touchdowns last season, finishing his Idaho career with a school record 33 TDs, receiving, that is. Cornerback Carlton Johnson out of Fresno State. The 5'11", 173-pound corner was unable to participate at the combine, but did run a 4.28 40 at Fresno State's Pro Day in March, and was listed as the third best cornerback who was left undrafted by NFL.com. And he did have a pre-draft 30 visit to the Seahawks. And defensive lineman Rayson Williams II out of Louisiana Tech, 6'4", 280-pounder, had 25 tackles and 2.5 sacks this past season after transferring from Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin? Tagovailoa. Sorry, I have to get this because not Tua. Tua's brother. Sorry, I'm trying to get this here. Tuila, his brother out of Maryland, has a rookie camp invite to the Seahawks as well. So there we go. Sorry, was trying to get that all in order. That was a mess. I don't know. A lot of the outlets around the league that cover the team, or even locally, do have a positive look or grade on the Seahawks for this draft. I think it's solid. I mean, you look at, the first few picks going with Murphy, going with Haynes. That's good. Knight's intriguing. He looked like a tackle machine at UTEP. Barner, a blocking tight end, I'm not really moved. And Pritchett should be fun. So you look at those first 5 picks, and, again, Barner, we'll see. I mean, he could be a really valuable piece to this. But you look at those guys, 2 of the guys in the trenches, you add to the front 7, and then you look at Pritchett, who could, be a nice piece in this DB room, one that, where Tariq Woolen's trying to have a bounce-back year of sorts next year. Devon Witherspoon's going to have his sophomore season. And then you look at, the last 3 picks with James, another cornerback at Auburn, and then the 2 tackles. You're really trying to solidify things. You're not necessarily going for the big position players. But that's not the biggest deal in the world. And then the undrafted free agents can really be a big boost there. You never know who's going to come out as a diamond in the rough. But with all of this, Seattle, because of the draft picks that they have and the contracts that they're going to have, Seattle needs to clear about $3 million, I believe, in cap space to sign these guys. So it'll be interesting to see how this all goes and how that all plays out. So we'll look ahead here. With Seattle being one of the 8 teams that has a new coach in 2024 per NFL rules, Mike McDonald and his staff will conduct a voluntary minicamp that began, there was that minicamp from April 22nd to 24th to kick off Phase 2 of the offseason program. Phase 3 of the offseason program starts May 20th, as the Seahawks will conduct 10 organized team activity workouts through June the 6th. McDonald will also hold a mandatory minicamp from June 11th to 13th to wrap up the offseason program. Per rules, no live contact is permitted during this period, but 7-on-7, 9-on-7, and 11-on-11 team drills will be allowed, along with individual and group drills. During the 2 weeks following this draft that we just talked about, all 32 NFL teams will be allowed to host a 3-day rookie minicamp, which we talked about Tagovailoa, his brother. The league has yet to announce the official dates for the mini camps, last I saw, but in the past, Seattle has hosted draft picks, undrafted rookies, and tryout players on one of the 2 weekends after the draft. So as we get it, we'll put that information out for you.